Testing, testing. I'll be with you shortly here. We're having some difficulty with our live stream on Facebook, so apologize. Be one moment. All right, folks, we're going to get started here, and I apologize to those that were expecting to go through the Facebook. Unfortunately, that is not working very well. Let me go ahead and pop over to our forecast models here. Right after we get done with our 7-day forecast. So we do show that we're expecting highs in the low 80s for Sioux Falls area, and 60% chances of thunderstorms. Primarily that is going to be off into the southwest part of Minnesota and central part of Minnesota. As you can see with the SPC categorical risk levels there, we got a slight risk in much of central Twin Cities area of Minnesota and even north central part of Iowa. The biggest risk that we're going to have would be the 5% risk. Now that may be small to y'all, but 5% is pretty significant when you're talking about chasing storms and chasing tornadoes. As some of you may already know, that there was quite a significant tornado that hit areas of Pollock and in north central part of South Dakota yesterday, and so that risk there was a 5% risk in some swath of that area as well. So I do want to also thank our sponsors, Mission Nutrition, Fit Revolution, and Refuel. They are all located in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. They help fuel your body with the nutrition that you need. If you need to speak with one of the coaches, I think that would be your first best defense to be able to make sure that you get right on track and stay on track. If you're already on track, stay on track through those fall and winter months when it's a little bit tougher to get outside with your staying fit. They've got some great options. They've got a brownie batter mocha on the rocks, I call, where you just have major amounts of protein in your coffee, get a little bit of caffeine, healthy caffeine. So a little background on me: I went from 252 pounds to 165 pounds, and I've kept it off for a number of years. So check them out today. So let's go and dive in. Hello, folks. Here's the timing on some of those storms, what we may expect for storms into Minnesota. Timing based on the National Weather Service out of the Twin Cities from this morning is 1 to 3 in that swath there in the upper center part of this background here, and we do show hitting the Twin Cities sometime between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. where the biggest concern. Let's go ahead and show you now the risk levels with regards to. There's the tornado risk. As you can see, it does have up into St. Cloud as well as the Twin Cities there with that 5% risk. If we take a quick peek at the wind risk, that does encompass a much larger area all the way back over to Sioux Falls, though it's low. We'll have to take a look at some of the weather models and see how that plays out. And we'll get to all that. Hail risks that we have. Our hail risk, as you can see here, kind of the same area as where the wind risk is. So let's dive in and shut this off here. And we'll dive into some of the weather models here. This is the HRRR weather model. This was updated at 8 a.m. So let's go ahead and get that passed through here. As you can see, those pop-up showers here, fairly light, nothing significant at noon, kind of the precursor of things that are going to be getting going. We do even have a few areas down to our south in Charles Mix County, over by Verdell in Nebraska, and Dante and Tyndall areas that get a few things going there. Even Freeman and Parker around 1 o'clock. This is going to be, again, the precursor to that severe weather. We'll have some brief heavy downpours for a little bit around 2 o'clock as the system rolls through in Sioux Falls area. And as it passes through, it gets more intense as we go into mid-afternoon into southwest Minnesota, northwest Iowa. As you can see right there, big line of storms that continue to really develop over much of northwest Iowa, as well as southwest Minnesota and central Minnesota. Even this model is showing Sioux City area could be a significant hail core right here, just to the west of Sioux City. That is possible around 5 p.m. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And then into northern Minnesota, that is where the significant wind and tornado threat, in my opinion, these are going to be just major movers right here with all that wind threat, curvature there. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek then a little bit further out to see how that plays out as we progress over to Wisconsin area. Just develops into a huge line. By 8 p.m. though, things start breaking up quite considerably, as you can see here. Doesn't mean that it's going to be anything that you need to let your guard down on, because Eau Claire will still see quite a significant wind threat there. But then by overnight hours, we certainly do see that things slow down quite a bit. All right, so let's take a look at the parameters here as we can take a look at that. We take a look at the significant tornado parameters here. Waiting for that to load. And as you can see, significant tornado parameters support St. Cloud area, as well as even all the way up to Thief River Falls around 1 p.m. And then 4 p.m. gets more numerous there. Let's get some measurements on that. We do show 1.6, 1.7, all the way up to like a 1.9 there. So those are some significant tornado parameters showing likelihood of some tornado activity. Even up into Crosby area, 2.3 between Little Falls and Crosby, Minnesota. So heads up, any of you that are planning on going to the Twin Cities area today, you definitely will want to be keeping an eye out on things. And then we do have enter into the northern part over by Mora, Minnesota, and Pine City. If you're traveling up to New Moose Lake, Minnesota, you definitely want to be careful there. Around 6 p.m. And we do have a more significant tornado parameter over by Spooner, Minnesota. We're really getting into the northern country there, just about up to Duluth. And if we take a quick peek at some of the other factors here, bulk shear, we can take a look at that. That will help us get a measurement of where that vertical wind shear is. I'll wait through that update here. All right, we go back. As you can see, there's plenty of bulk shear, but not other elements going on this morning. Here's where the development really happens. In the afternoon hours, we'll go ahead and put some parameters on there. Just about 60 knots. That's significant enough for that tornadic development, even to the west of the cities. As you can see there over by Litchfield, Hutchinson, along Highway 12. That's going to be pretty significant. And then southwest Minnesota area, over by New Ulm, there's some significant bulk shear there as well around 5 p.m. So folks that are over by the St. James and Mankato area later today, right here, that would be an area that I would probably start my chase out at, because you're going to have a whole bunch of chasers up in this area towards the Twin Cities and even up in towards Grand Rapids area. But I think these southern storms here are going to be the ones that are going to be rogue storm cells, and they will certainly, they won't be attached to anything more significant. So I think those are going to be the ones that will actually be the ones that you have to really worry about, because nothing else is going to be feeding off of that at that point. Let's go ahead and progress this a little bit further, see where that bulk shear is. Yeah, so sometime between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. Hang on, folks. Wife had me make sure that I checked something real quick, so I got to make sure that I get the microwave and get the stove here. So 1 second. All right, folks, sorry, that crazy, and of course my music on my phone was going, the crazy songs of Twisters 2, you know, that was crazy, Twisters. All right, so let's go back to this here. I'm back, had to go ahead and get the homemade apple crisp out of the oven. So let's go ahead and get back to this. We are showing you the bulk shear. There's a larger view. Make sure that you can see all of it here. Even up in Duluth area around 7 p.m. Let's go back to, I want to show you another model here. It was updated at 8 a.m. And this is the NAM 3K, just so that we can get kind of a comparison for it. Because it's never good to use just one weather model. You want to always end up using additional weather models. Let me see if I have anybody that's been chatting with me, folks. I have my chat off, so I'm going to have a scattered thunderstorm. Okay. Well, Sean, I appreciate you joining. All right, so now I'm able to see the chats. So go ahead and feel free to chat away, and I'll get to those as quick as I can. This is the NAM 3K. We're showing you this for comparison purposes, so that we can kind of compare to the HRRR. As you can see, this does a better job, actually, of, in my opinion, putting these storms in the southwest part of Minnesota. Let me see if there is a ability to take a look at one other significant tornado parameter on this one. Zoom back out. So this one has things firing up more in northern part of Minnesota, north of St. Cloud for the significant tornado parameters. But then by 3 o'clock, you certainly do see the significant tornado parameters show up a little bit more in central part of Minnesota, even over to the east of Rochester by 4 p.m. So it may be a fast mover comparing those models together. We'll go back to this here just to show South Dakota's development. And there's that line of storms around 5 p.m., pretty significant. So if we go 5 p.m., let's look at HRRR for 5 p.m. Those two are spot on, folks. So I would say this is pretty consistent. Those two updates are pretty well spot on. There's many other weather models, but those ones like GFS as well as NAM 12K. We do have NAM 12K that we can take a look at. That was updated at 8 a.m. as well. And the only difference on this is the resolution. I mean, it makes it look pretty clear. But 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. they're all in line. So all three of those weather models are supporting that development to happen sometime between the hours of 1 p.m. if you're in an extreme western part of Minnesota, and then more so in the mid-afternoon area for central Minnesota, and even as early as 1 p.m. for northwest Iowa, starting to get going. So that is the latest information that we have there, and let's go ahead and go back to that 7-day forecast and an overall look here of what we're expecting. Again, slight risk by the SPC for central and northwest, north central part of Minnesota, and then a large 5% risk for that area of the Twin Cities for the tornado risk, as well as showing a 2% risk a little bit further south into north central part of Iowa. Thanks again for our sponsors. Want to make sure that I touch base on that. We do have one other sponsor that I wanted to make sure that I mentioned. You saw it in the lower right-hand corner. Prairie Pro General Contractors, prairieprosd.com. You can check them out, request a free quote today, and they would be able to assist you. Poor folks that were up in north central South Dakota, plenty of damage, and our hearts go out to them, prayers go out to them. But if you know somebody that needs a new roof, certainly contact them today at prairieprosd.com, and they'll do you right. With over 25 years of experience, they can get the job done. Thanks all of you for joining. I certainly appreciate it, and I will share this on Facebook, so hopefully in the future I can get the Facebook and the YouTube live streaming at the same time. But again, I'm going to post this on Facebook, but if there's an issue in the future. I may have to just